Greetings.
Greetings, everyone. How are y'all doing? This week's episode of Eigenbros deals with relationships, but through the scope or paradigm of MBTI.
Mm-hmm. So MBTI is back, baby.
MBTI is back. You know, the first half of the episode is sort of reminiscent of something we've covered before, but we wanted to make sure y'all on the same page as us.
Yeah.
Kind of
a little review session.
Yeah,
in
a
the
little
beginning.
review. Yeah, kind of laying out how the functions work and stuff like that, and how maybe you can take advantage of some of the insights of MBTI to help you better navigate relationships.
Mm-hmm.
This is post Valentine's Day, so hopefully it went well for y'all. I would hope. But yeah, nonetheless, hopefully the information provided was insightful. I kind of guess into personal stuff, maybe, you know, at least for me, talking about previous relationships with certain types of personalities, and maybe some of the insights I've learned navigating that. And I think the same with Terence. Terence, you know, you kind of provided some of your own insights about how to maybe navigate relationships, not only personal ones, but you're saying advisors and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we try to do a little bit of love analysis here. You know,
Yeah.
which personality types fit well. So hopefully you guys will appreciate this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, just make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share the channel as always. And then also check out the Eigenbros.com website, at Eigenbros on Twitter, at Eigenbros on Instagram, and then also Eigenbros2 on TikTok.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys in a bit.
3, 2, 1. Bam, 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 bam.
He's getting so good at it now.
We're live once more on a very heartbroken episode of Eigenbros.
Heartbroken.
Yeah,
No.
post Valentine's. This is why I'm wearing this hat. It's got a rose on it, folks. It's got a rose on it. You can see.
Except the one when this comes out, this Valentine's is not going to be very relevant.
No, it's not. But you know, this is Valentine's in.
People have already forgotten it.
Valentine's in retrospect.
In retrospect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So here we
Way
are.
retrospect.
We're reflecting on. You know, hopefully by the time you heard this, you had a good Valentine's weekend last weekend, and
For all you single people, I hope the ice cream and movies by yourself was very good and enjoyable.
yes. For us millennials in college, we understand. We understand your plight.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. I would hope. You can see me fidgety with my hands because it's a very stressful moment for me.
Yeah, I've noticed in the last videos I keep rubbing my leg. I really stop doing that.
You're like, I'm
Because these pants are just so. I don't know. They have a nice material
Texture.
feel to them. Yeah, that
Yeah.
it's fun to rub on.
It's good texture. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Look, trust me. There's a little bit of on the spectrum behavior there, but
Well, we are physicists.
yeah,
so
we are
what
physicists.
you
I
gonna
will
do?
admit, you know, I do have things that I obsess over. You know, physics is one of them.
Yeah. What's another?
Another thing, I just have particular, like I can't, like I don't like to step on the floor barefoot, so I will walk on my tiptoes, or I will walk like kind of where my feet aren't touching.
I kind of get that. But
Yeah.
that's because there's shit on the floor sometimes.
Yeah,
On the wooden floor is worse. I'll
Yeah.
walk barefoot on a carpet floor.
yeah, same.
Yeah. I think I get you.
But that's
because
still-
your shit gets stuck to your foot.
Yeah.
On the yeah.
But still, people think that's weird.
Okay.
It's a little bit too. You're thinking about it too much, and this is what I mean.
I feel that, though.
Okay,
I feel
all right.
that.
Anybody else?
To me, that doesn't seem... Yeah,
Yeah.
if you do that, leave it in the comments.
yeah, or tweet at us. Be like, yeah, I feel that.
I feel like I would do the same. But I don't
Yeah.
have wood floors in my house, so
Gotcha.
I don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, update, folks. We're moving in together.
Yes, indeed. The Eigenbros are
we'll
going
now
to be...
have a compound, the
Yeah.
Eigenbros mansion, the Eigen. Actually, you folks help us out. Give us a name. Throw some ideas.
But like the Eigen Cave.
The Eigen Cave. Something.
Like Man Cave, the Eigen
yeah.
Cave.
Throw something out there. Tweet at us at Eigenbros. Give us some ideas
Yeah, if you got some names,
Yeah.
we would definitely be gladly to take them
for our headquarters.
Eigenbros HQ. I kind of like that. Yeah.
But yeah, P.O. Box, you know, Chicago, Illinois, 60652. You remember that?
Scruff McGruff.
Scruff McGruff.
Why do I still remember that
Ruff
dumb
McGruff,
stuff?
Chicago, Illinois,
60652.
Rough McGruff the crime dog.
Yep.
Tough on crime.
You got it, man.
Damn, this stuff sticks.
Those 90s jingles, man. You can't beat them.
You kids will never have that. You'll never have useless information.
Right.
So etched in your brain by a fucking stupid jingle. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to talk about today was Valentine's Day. You know.
Okay.
And the crime of love, really.
Oh.
You know.
The crime of love.
Yeah, Cupid's arrow, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, Cupid didn't shoot an arrow at me; he shot a gun at me.
Oh,
killed me.
Damage.
I've been hurt.
Poor one. Give him a shoulder to cry on, folks.
Yeah, folks. Send me. Find me on Twitter.
Send him a shoulder.
Yeah, find me on Twitter. DM me and say, "I'm sorry, bro. You know, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make it, and thank you." But nonetheless, positivity. I wanted to kind of open the floor up because Terrence here has a very interesting perspective on relationships, basically anchored to MBTI. And
yes,
I've met people of, well, depending on your gender and your sexuality. For me, I'm heterosexual, first of all. Like,
so he claims.
Yeah. Yeah, depending on the way the moon is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's so for me, meeting certain women, I do definitely find certain personalities that I tend to gravitate towards.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, we're going to get right into it, but MBTI, I guess maybe we should preface what MBTI is and
sure, we can do
what
it.
What are the functions?
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
Some of you who have been our more dedicated listeners will know that we've talked about MBTI a couple times. It's just one of these things that I always kind of study on my own as like a fun kind of intellectual framework for personality typing.
Yeah.
And MBTI stands for Myers-Briggs type indicator. You might have seen it in like a job setting where they're trying to figure out where to place you in a job. They do them at schools sometimes to see how you're supposed to learn. You might even have seen it online. You know, people do it a lot online just to figure out what the hell their personality is. I mean, that's where I actually first encountered it during school, but you know, it's a personality typing system, and it's one that I kind of play around with a lot, you know, every now and then, and kind of, you know, humor myself with that when I'm getting sick of looking at hard science stuff or, you know, something like that.
It's a nice little toy model, would you say, for like sort of characterizing people. Now, the most colloquial personality test is astrology, right?
Yeah.
That's the more like common sort of vulgar kind of attempt at like typing.
But I would not even really consider that a personality test because it's mostly just like, it's not based on anything.
Right.
Like there's no scientific basis behind it. So I wouldn't even give it that much
unless
credit. We've already talked about that a little bit, so I kind of want to stay away.
I will say, unless you are an actual astrology like person that has some like, if you have some legitimate arguments to make against Terrence, I would love for you to come on the show.
Yeah, please try me,
with him.
But also I'm gonna probably get a headache. It's one of those things like, it's like trying to debate. When you're debating those kind of things, you're not even talking in a logical framework, though.
Sure.
It's like debating religion. It's like the logic. It's not a logical framework. So you already lost it. I already lose the debate, or I don't. There is no debate. It's a completely different argument. Right.
You have different bases that you're operating on, right? Because I think astrology is based on a lot of it. The variables, I think, are such that they take into consideration your time of birth, the where you were born, the
moon's
stars,
alignment.
the stars where they were at the time,
yeah.
And then they make certain correlations, and then they say this is what your personality is more likely to be.
But it's just completely arbitrary. There is no scientific frame. There is no scientific underpinning.
There's there's really kind of no understanding. There, I think, is what you're saying. Like as opposed to MBTI, where it's a little bit, some of it's based on some psychology.
It has a statistical. It uses statistics to try to prove things. Albeit MBTI is not really taken seriously in the psychology community. So some people who are, who might be more skeptical would be like, well, MBTI is just a shit because it's only got like a 23% success rating. But yeah. from what I've seen with MBTI, I think there's other reasons behind why that is.
Yeah.
So I've kind of talked about this before.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah.
Well, I do want to say that there is, so with MBTI, there are, so maybe we can just go into how the breakdown is. So there's introversion and extroversion.
Yep.
And those introversion and extroversion can bleed into other sort of, how would you say, tiers of how they order personality traits, right? So meaning that, okay, so for instance, just hold on to that thought. We're gonna expand on it more. So introversion and extroversion, right? Those are pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, people are pretty familiar with those terms, I think, colloquially, even if you don't know anything about MBTI.
Right, and so
although they have kind of specific meanings in MBTI,
they do.
You kind of still know what it means.
Right. So just to kind of spell it out, introversion is somebody who typically gets their energy from extroverts typically get their energy from social interactions or hanging around people. Introverts need time to recharge from social interactions. So if, for me, for instance, I know I'm introverted, even though I can be social, I am nonetheless introverted because I find myself taking restroom breaks.
Right.
Like if I'm hanging out, I'd be like, I don't really need to go to the restroom. I just need to go spend some time by myself.
That's so interesting, man. That's really interesting.
I'm just like,
I've noticed
to go
that too. I'm like, why is it that I've noticed that? I'm like, introverts always are in the bathroom.
Yeah, we need some time to.
And you guys aren't in the bathroom doing anything. Like,
nah, we're just chilling.
You're just chilling in there.
Yeah,
that's so interesting, man.
I'm just chilling, bro. I'm trying to recharge, man. Leave me alone. Stop trying to steal my energy.
Because my current roommate, he does the same thing. I'm like, bro, you ain't going to the bathroom.
He's just on there. He's just trying to look at social media, you know, alone. So.
Yeah,
there's definitely that. So if you do that, if you find yourself needing to step away from social interactions just to kind of have to get some alone time, you're definitely introverted.
Yeah, an interesting one with extroverts that a buddy of mine who's in the Air Force now, he brought up to me that I didn't realize before was extroverts. You go to like a Black Friday sale. Extroverts, we actually get amped up when there's all that energy around us.
Yeah,
like it makes us feel like we're like on. Like it makes my mind feel like it's going like even faster than normal.
Yeah.
Like
it's exciting.
It gives me like energy to be in that kind of thrown in that chaotic situation.
Right.
It's strange. It's like you get like amped up from it.
Yeah. I in some sense, I mean, it's not all like clear boundaries, black and whites. I mean,
do you relate to that?
Because I can relate to that in some sense.
Okay.
But
so maybe it's not extroverted.
But I think it is. But it's nonetheless very much. For me, I still need time to recharge, regardless. Like it doesn't matter what it like. Yeah,
the bathroom one is completely foreign to me.
See,
so that's I would like an example. Maybe it's just because maybe I'm a more of an extrovert, but I don't think I'm really that extroverted.
But yeah,
but I don't know. I would like another clear example like that because the bathroom one completely doesn't resonate with me at all.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the bathroom test for introverts.
Yeah,
for me, like if I'm
so maybe there's a litmus. That's a good litmus for introverts.
I think it is. But nonetheless, so that's how you'll typically discern if you are extroverted or introverted, or the desire to maybe even stick to yourself at a party or something, or hang out with the animal, or something like that.
I'm an extrovert, and I sometimes like just stick to myself at a party and just observe.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, but you're more. There's more going on here than
that's true. That's true.
Than just simple extroversion.
Yeah.
So the next tier is. There's two types: sensing and intuitiveness.
Yes,
right?
Intuition.
Sensing. How would you describe that?
So sensing, people have a focus on the material world. So you have a very strong focus on the actual senses: taste, touch, smell, sound, and the things you gravitate towards are material things in the real world. So sensors like to talk about things like how's their day, like what do they eat, what was happening with their colleagues at work, let's say, things like that. That's kind of, of course you got to take these things with a grain of salt. This is like someone who's an intuitive can do these things too.
Yeah.
But
if you're more balanced, you're more likely to also reach this point of.
Yes. But it's like, you just want to, you gotta get used to it. It's like your main focuses are going to be on that. Like sensing people, I've noticed, one thing I think of as like a hilarious test for sensors is like how much you care about the weather. I think I've probably looked up a weather report probably 3 times in my life. Although I think there's, of course, it depends. I'm sure intuitives do too, because I know you look at the weather.
Yeah, I do.
But I feel like sensing people love the weather.
They love it to a degree that is beyond my
I do like
my concern.
I see. Well, I think the biggest test is for intuition versus sensing is if they care about any grand ideas, like any big concepts. Like typically for me, the test is
that's a hard one too.
Do you care? Well, I will say this: I've met the more sensing people I've met don't care about too many cerebral things.
Well, abstract.
Like abstract.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say cerebral. I'm not trying to be mean.
Yeah, because I know sensors who are smart as fuck.
They are.
And they care about cerebral things, but it's the shit that I don't really care about. It'll be like, factual based sometimes.
Right.
Like, for instance, like an ISTJ will know a bunch of shit about like detailed.
Like car,
detailed
like
stuff.
how to fix a certain thing on a
car.
car.
Yeah. Like I can't stand cars because there's so
Yeah.
many pieces to it that
Yeah.
I just don't want to get bothered with all that
Right.
stuff. But
Same
like
here.
abstract generalizations are really appealing to me because I like one size fits a bunch of shit systems.
Yeah.
You know,
So this is kind of like the clear delineation between the two types, I would say, in my experience, because I've met sensing people that when I talk about big ideas, they kind of just tune out.
And big ideas, you're meaning really like an abstract generalizations.
Yeah.
So it's the big separator I would say is abstraction versus pragmatism.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're more developed, as I've gotten older, I've kind of reached a middle road in some way.
Yeah.
So I'm a lot more balanced now. So, but I used to be much more heady and just kind of talking about things in the abstract.
Right. Your head in the clouds completely.
Exactly.
Right.
So, so hang around some sensing people. If you're also an intuitive type, it's important.
Yeah.
It's important to balance.
You need
out.
some pragmatic people on your teams. You're all just surrounded by intuitives. You guys are going to be fucking in the clouds all day. That normal people are going to be like, "What the hell are you guys even doing?"
Yeah. And then the next tier, there's 4 tiers, by the way, but the third tier is thinking versus feeling.
Yes.
Yeah. And do you want to explain this one? Because this one gets people upset because they think, oh, you're calling me a feeler? You're saying I'm irrational?
Yeah.
This is a touchy one,
It
right?
is a touchy one.
So thinking, of course, just means that you prefer logical frameworks, and usually that's tied to inanimate things, usually.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a preference towards inanimate objects,
Mm-hmm.
whereas feeling is you have a preference towards animate things, animate objects.
Yeah.
So you have a preference for people and animals and things.
Mm-hmm.
Again, these things are subtle. They're subtleties, but in general, that's what it is.
So in your experience, like what is a clear tell typically between a
For
thinker,
feelers and thinkers,
thinker versus feeling?
This one's actually kind of hard to fish out sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this guy, for the record, he mistyped me because he thought.
I thought you were an ENFP at first, but that was a very haphazard typing.
Yeah.
I usually don't do it that poorly.
Right, but I asked you, but this was like after we first met, literally probably like the second time we really had a conversation.
Yeah. And I based you completely off of VI, which was just a bad move.
VI, what do you mean?
Visual identification.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I wasn't as proficient as I am now with
Yeah.
it.
But nonetheless, so because for me, thinking and feeling types are a lot more clear. Actually, no, I think that's probably the cloudiest one. I think I would agree with you.
Yeah, it is. Because imagine if you're in like since we're physicists, if you're in the field of physics, it's like
you have
feeling
feelers.
people. Yeah, you do, but they don't always present themselves as such, right? Because
right.
you're always talking about logical systems.
Right.
So they're adept enough to talk about these logical systems in the same way as you.
Mm-hmm.
They understand the language now. I've noticed that with physicists a lot of times they mistype themselves. People who are feelers, a lot of times will mistype themselves as thinkers because they are used to dealing with these systems.
And they've probably developed this thinking muscle that they have.
Exactly. So they become more proficient at using their thinking, their logical skills.
Yeah, and there's a lot of creatives that I guess we've run into that maybe in a sense makes them, at least can be also mischaracterized as feeling types. Like professors probably look at us and think these kids are all wussies, you know. You know what I'm saying? These kids are all like, you know, they're soft.
Yeah, but that's like an age
that probably is a
thing,
generational thing. Yeah. But nonetheless, I'm getting off track here. Anyway, so that's kind of it is hard to state who's thinking and who's feeling, but we'll get into like the subcategories in just a second. We're about to finish up on the fourth tier, which is perceiving and judging.
Another controversial one.
Yes,
because of the name. You know, people don't want to be judgers because it
sounds like you're a douche or something.
Yeah.
Right. But really, the distinction there is perceiving people. I mean, these are some really easy tells if the people are this way. Like, if you're messy as fuck, you're probably going to be a perceiver.
Yeah.
If you're really organized, you're probably going to be a judger.
Of course, this is really, really basic.
Yeah.
But this will be harder to tell over time as well.
But at its core, I guess it's easy to see when you're looking at the extremes.
It's really easy to tell too if people are chronically just not if they're temporally challenged in some way. Like
but it's hard because think about me. I'm never late for anything.
You're an astute man,
but
Terence.
I'm a perceiver.
But
like
you are
100%.
a perceiver. Yeah.
So it's also the development of your skill. Like,
exactly.
You know, if you really concentrate on that, then you know you can beat it.
Be conscientious of time. Yeah.
Like organized people can be perceivers, right?
Yeah.
So it gets harder to tell. I guess what's a good way to tell perceivers? Usually, perceivers. I guess perceivers. One thing, I guess, a more surefire way is if they're developed. To tell perceiver versus judger is perceivers usually leave problems open-ended for much longer than a judger.
Mm-hmm.
Judgers usually like to make decisions quickly, so they answer questions and they answer problems and figure them out very fast. Whereas perceivers want to take in more information until they can finally make a judgment.
Right. I think I would agree with you on that.
So perceivers, you can usually tell they tend to leave the book open for longer.
Right. No, yeah.
That may be the best way to tell.
Yeah. Open-endedness.
Yeah.
Typically, we're seen as lofty people.
Yes. Very indecisive and wavy.
Yeah, we're because
wavery, I should say.
Because these are the judgmental people judging us. No, I'm just kidding. But it's
but we can judge them too. So
but we're seen as lofty and sort of I
see you're saying like idealistic.
Because
idealistic is more of feeling.
Okay, fine, but we're sort of seen as
depends.
Yeah, I mean, perceiving types, they're seen as kind of just non-committal to certain maybe.
Yeah, non-committal is a good word.
Yeah. Which is a problem.
Yeah.
So,
but then of course to us, the judgers, they seem too hasty.
Too rigid.
Well,
in my experience,
too quick to act before taking in the information.
Okay.
Yeah. So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
You know, we're both judgers. Except one is just called a judger to distinguish between a decision maker versus it's basically like a person who decides quickly versus a person who likes to take in information.
Yeah. So with given all those tools, now we can sort of get into the sub tiers. And before we get into the bread and butter,
the only thing I worry about this episode is it's kind of almost like the first MBTI episode.
It is, but this is I'm taking I'm doing a 180 on this, and instead of going into more stuff like that, I'm getting into personal stuff.
Okay.
So,
all right, I'll let you guide this.
So
I think I'm even wearing the same shirt as I did on the first MBTI episode that we did.
So now that we have that, you also have tiers. So you also have extroversion and introversion within those tiers. So, like for instance, the introvert and extroversion, that's what you get what you have there.
Yeah.
But for the second tier, where it's intuition and sensing, those have components of extroversion and introversion.
So you're getting a little bit off the trail because you're trying to go to cognitive functions, right?
Yes.
So the layer underneath the IENSTFJP dichotomy is the cognitive layer.
Yes.
The cognitive functions are the most important part of MBTI.
This is where the real
right. You start at the coarse layer, then you go to the fine layer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the cognitive functions are the fine layer. So there's the perceiving functions, which are, how you're kind of taking in information, which is the N or the S. So that's intuition or sensing. And then you have the judging functions, which is the T or the F. So each of those functions can have an attitude. And the attitude is either introverted or extroverted attitudes. So, for example, you could have a sensing function that can either be an introverted sensing function or an extroverted sensing function. And those two manifest very differently.
Yes.
So, and you can go through that for each of the functions that we've described.
Right. So, just to break it down even more, if you take a personality test and you type yourself, you try to be as objective as possible. Don't wish that you were this kind of person, right?
Yeah.
When you're taking this test. And let's say you take the test and you score, let's say, for instance, for me, I score INTP. And I've consistently scored INTP my whole life. So I'm pretty convinced that's a good profile of like who I might be as a person. That might give somebody a good framework to try to understand what's going on in here. But the breakdown of the tiers are such that I think the way you put it, correct me if I'm wrong, Terence knows more about this, but extroverted, so I'm introverted, second is intuitive, third is thinking, fourth is perceiving. So for the intuition, the cognitive function that's dominant there is extroverted intuition.
Yes.
Right? And so for extroverted intuition,
it's in your savior functions.
Okay.
To use the Dave Superpowers terminologies, I like it because he calls the savior as your two primary functions. Your primary is not intuition, though.
It's introverted thinking, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But continue on.
So like he's saying, they're tiered in a way where it's such that how you take in information is filtered as such, right?
Yes.
So for me, it's introverted thinking. So I do a lot of introspection or introverted thinking, right?
Right. You're sorting through all of the information constantly to build it into a singular framework.
Right.
It's an internal framework. That's where the introverted I comes in.
Exactly.
So your thinking is all internally based. You're constantly adding blocks onto this ever-growing logical framework.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And so for the second function, well, the other one is extroverted intuition and blah, blah, blah. And then you get into, what was the other one?
So the next one for you would be introverted sensing.
Introverted sensing, which is
so you have your two perceiving functions sandwiched in the middle.
Yeah. So categorizing stuff, I think, is the introverted sensing thing where you try to...
Exactly.
Yeah.
You make that's like when you're, going through your computer and you're putting all your nice labels on your folders and stuff. And although I don't know if it's...
No, I mean, if you look at my room, it's pretty organized.
Yeah.
And then...
The hack behind that for perceivers is to be minimalist.
It is, and I am. But the thing is, the last one, and the last but not least, this is the real shit. This is extroverted feeling.
Yeah. So that is the one that is the inferior function.
Yeah.
That's the one that you kind of dismiss very early in your life, and you see it as a weak function.
It is.
Yeah.
And it was.
Right.
And
then you learn the value, though, of it once you get older and older. And then you try to actually incorporate that into your full stack.
Yes. He nailed it, folks.
Right.
This is really what it is.
And it's pretty much the way for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my experience, since we're tying this into Valentine's Day and shit.
Yeah.
Romantic stuff. So I will say that the biggest point of contention for extroverted feelers like me are talking to or interacting with people who are introverted feelers. So if you take the MBTI and you want to maybe kind of try to navigate this landscape of romance.
What are you? Oh, okay, the romance. Okay.
Yeah. You need to be careful because as an extroverted feeler, the most problems I've run into with people are introverted feelers. And that's, correct me, maybe Terence knows a little bit more about this, but in my experience, it's because we don't necessarily speak the same language of feeling.
Yeah.
Now, extroverted feelers, you can interject anytime you want, but extroverted feelers have this nagging sense of wanting to have social cohesion or some kind of like make sure that everything is okay.
Right. They're constantly monitoring the temperature of the group's
Dynamics.
their harmony.
Yeah.
So if harmony's out of whack, the extroverted feeler kicks on hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And introverted feelers, I've run into problems with introverted feelers because they typically only they
are hyper aware of their own feeling.
Yes. And so they filter their feelings through how they feel first, and then they can maybe consider how others feel.
It's an internal function, introverted function. So all of their feeling is they know exactly how they're feeling.
Right.
They know what they like just by knowing how it makes them feel.
Yeah.
And they know who makes them feel good. So they have all of that internally.
Yeah.
And they understand it very well.
Yeah. So you and I have the same. So Terence, for the record, he scores as ENTP.
Right. So
pretty consistently, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm 100% sure of my type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say it's accurate? Pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty damn accurate.
Okay. Good.
Of course, there's always it's like a stereotyped version of you.
It is.
But like the model of ENTP fits me better than any of the other types.
Right.
It's like, of course, I've added on all this other shit to overcompensate for my weaknesses.
Right.
So, but at the end of the day, it's like I'm definitely an ENTP.
Right. At your core, this is kind of who
if you stripped away everything and, like just even gone back to me as a child, that's probably well, child can be misleading too because you just feel dumb at everything. But my stripped down self, straight up ENTP.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, but I mean, like you and I have, but we both have the same quality where it's extroverted feeling, right?
Yes, mine would be in tertiary though.
So yours would be third.
Yes.
Order.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Third in the stack.
Yeah. So, but for me, I've developed it profusely because I had to. I was in a relationship with someone who was an introverted feeler for a long time.
Yeah.
An INTJ, for the record. And that's I will say, for you extroverted feelers and introverted feelers, I think this is where you can run into relationship problem or turmoil.
Yeah.
So
there could be some turbulence for another T.
Yeah. I think in every other function, it's pretty much okay, right? Like you think that's the most contentious?
Well, the other one that I say is the root of most problems is thinking functions too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's the judging functions are the problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Explain.
So maybe I'm not sure about relationships. I'd have to think of some examples, but for instance, TE is a problem with me sometimes because if let's say like an advisor in physics is 2 TE, they want you to always be producing results.
Yeah.
Or at least they want you to be tracking your progress all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas a TI person would want to sometimes step back and just keep taking in information more until they finally shit out a golden goose egg.
Yeah.
But the TE doesn't like that. They need to see you actually making progress and hitting the check boxes.
I see.
So that can be really when an advisor is 2 TE, sometimes it makes me less efficient because now I'm trying to show them check boxes. All my energy is going towards showing check boxes rather than actually getting something done. So I arbitrarily make up check boxes just to make it look like something can be checked off, and then it actually fucks up my productivity. Mm-hmm. So that's the other problem with that's the other issue that I've seen is TE versus TI is a contentious one.
Yeah.
So it's the judging functions that are usually the issues.
I think I would agree with that. It definitely creates tension.
Yeah.
In a relationship because my advisor is like that. I'm TI. My advisor is definitely extroverted thinking.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what his type
is. Really? Oh, yeah. Interesting. Okay. So I think most advisors probably fall in that category just because you have to be a certain type of personality. Now, I've met advisors who are. Your advisor was probably introverted thinking, I would imagine.
No, he was TI as a motherfucker. I mean, TE is like a mofo.
Okay, but
he was an advisor who was hyper aware of different personalities.
I see.
And he had a large group, so he was used to dealing with a lot of different students. Gotcha. He had a very good grasp of what people's strengths and weaknesses are.
Gotcha. Well, that's good. That's a good leader.
Yeah, he is.
Then okay. So, but nonetheless, I think my intuition was correct in the sense that I think most extroverted thinkers probably dominate the landscape of researchers. Well, they want results.
The world is going to be more of a TE world than a TI world.
Gotcha.
Because TE is very good for systems building. This is why the INTJs and ENTJs have TE as their primary or their savior functions. It's just so good to have you build up large scale systems. You pretty much are going to live in a TE world always. But then, of course, the TI ones are the ones that actually make these really, really well hashed out theories or really well hashed out pieces of engineering or whatever you want to do.
Right.
That a TI or TE wouldn't see. It's kind of off the beaten trail, but when it actually hits, it's usually of a very, very high caliber.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but anyway, I'm sorry if I derailed you.
No. That was it's because I just helping. Just help. I kind of want to give some help to people. Given the framework of MBTI, maybe they can make some sense on how to navigate relationships while they're in graduate school or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Or just in undergrad. You folks, I know there's some young.
Yeah,
folks
we got some
out
undergrads
there.
out there.
Yeah. So shout out to you. But yeah, it's so like Terence is saying, be weary, I guess, or be wary of TI.
The clash.
If
you can learn to appreciate your opposite
strengths,
attitude, you're going to be in a much better situation in life, because then you'll know how to speak to someone and where the hang-ups and where the disconnects are coming from.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but INTJs, are they T?
TE.
T. Okay.
Definitely TE.
Okay.
The doers are going to have TE in their major stack a lot of times.
Because when I dated the INTJ, she learned, we were very much opposites, obviously. Like but you can see there was a lot of points of contention because you're talking to FE.
Yeah.
And then I'm talking to a TE.
Right.
And so there was a lot of argumentation, but there was also an appreciation of the strengths of the other person. So if you reach a mutual place of understanding where it's like, oh, I appreciate that this person is different, and maybe in some way balancing each other out, you can grow a lot from that.
Right.
And I did. I grew a lot from that relationship. But
yeah, I think it helps to actually take note of the people who you're with strengths. So and really try to think what are they better at than I am?
Yeah.
And what do they do naturally that I appreciate? And I think that really helps a relationship grow, because then you kind of you get unstuck in trying to make them the way you want them to be.
Exactly,
and you appreciate them for the things that they do well.
Yeah.
And then you can reward them, of course, when they actually are stepping out of that boundary and try to do better, but don't expect them to be at your fucking same proficiency if you have different skill sets.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Like, for instance, going back to the FE-FI dynamic.
Yeah.
Because that's been the most recent, point of contention with some in some relationships. So you should be able to, for me, I'm more developed now in my FE, especially coming out of a relationship with somebody who was an ENFJ. So, which is, they're also leading FE. So it strengthened my inferior FE to a point where now my FE is so developed. Right,
because you saw the best case of it. So you could really you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. You're learning a lot from that.
I am. I was already at a place of understanding with my FE function, pretty developed coming out of the relationship with an INTJ. But then coming into a relationship with an ENFJ was very much so different.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at the stacks of the cognitive functions.
Right.
It's just so different.
Yeah, completely different.
Yeah, and so, it's, I would say, so the point of coming into contact with an FI once again, was kind of a shock, because it was like, holy fuck, I'm so FE now. And then coming into contact with the FI was like, oh fuck,
Trying to remember how to
talk to an FI again.
Yeah.
Because you have to know how to navigate these situations. Because even if you're in a relationship with your advisor or something, you also need to be aware of where their expectations might be for certain things, like TI, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, but in terms of how they navigate, how your advisor, if you're because I've had advisors who don't who don't really care to be very like considerate. I think because FEs do that. They're very considerate, right? They're
right.
They want their
because it's the harmony is such a big part of the picture. They usually want to have everybody be on the same page, feeling wise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want the whole lab, I imagine, to be on the same page,
right,
to be
right.
working together and stuff like that, as
Right.
opposed to challenging each other,
Right.
or not even talking to each other.
Mhm.
So,
but a TE can be too. So a TE automatically has FI. So a TE though might be more considered in the way they want everybody to be on the same page logistically.
right.
So they want everybody to be doing the same kind of procedures. Make sure you're always putting your equipment back at X amount of time.
Mhm.
Make sure the lab is finished this way. Blah blah
Mhm.
blah.
And it's a very structured system.
Yeah.
So
And-
it just depends on what you
Yeah.
mean.
But no, yeah, but this is also why they use MBTI in workplaces.
Yeah.
Because they,
I don't really like that because
You
it
know?
kind of pigeonholes people.
Yeah.
But I get it. I'd rather people
Just use MBTI on their own.
gotcha.
of course, and try to. The thing is, people. MBTI is not really good enough to me yet to be used in a workplace because it's not been hashed out in the psychology community enough.
Gotcha.
If the psychology community actually accepted MBTI as a very useful test, then I think it's passed.
Mhm.
But right now, MBTI is just kind of like used as a corporate tool to just stereotype people,
Mhm.
which I don't think is very useful to me because people don't know how to use it. It's not fully developed yet. It's not a fully
Yeah.
developed system.
It's kind of a hobbyist
Yeah.
thing.
The only reason I take it on is because it's so well hashed out. It's so much better than I probably could have done on my own
Mhm.
that I see all of the things that are valuable in the system, but I'm also willing to throw away any junk if I see it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I like this system because it kind of allows me to play around and have fun, but also be working with a system that's logical and makes sense.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's ready for a corporate environment. I think it's mostly ready for a hobbyist environment. Like it's still building.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, it's been important to me, to understand certain relationships, like as a framework, kind of giving it an idea of like what the other person's strengths and weaknesses might be. That kind of giving you a picture of that, even though it's not 100%. You can't 100%. Everybody's an individual.
Yeah.
Everybody has different variables that come into play of
Right.
their personality. So it's
But
not,
it's like you're starting from the electron, right? And then you build yourself
Right.
up to the molecule.
right,
you
right,
know?
right. So, but nonetheless, it usually is, in my experience, it's usually pretty on point about the kind of person that person might be.
Yeah. It gives you a really nice rough draft, I think better than you would be able to do without
On
a
your-
system on your own.
Yeah, like it gives you a good snapshot of who that person's like is at their very
Yeah.
core.
And if you're already a good enough person or if you're already a person who's weary of stereotypes in general,
Yeah.
you're not going to have that factored into your system, or you're probably going to already have that factored into your system where you're saying, "Oh, I could be stereotyping this person, so I need to take this with a grain of salt."
Yeah.
I can use a snapshot where I
Yeah.
think is appropriate, but I
Yeah.
need to be careful where I'm using that snapshot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, in my experience, it's made me more individualistic.
Yes.
Knowing MBTI.
Same.
Because I'm like, yeah, they might have this function. They might be FI or FE, but they obviously have different inputs.
Yeah.
So,
Especially when you start to see the same type in different people, and you can
Yes.
see how different they are.
Exactly.
That really gives a lot of insight.
It does. It's so powerful. Like there's one. Okay, you folks, if you look at the last episode, we invited our buddy Ray.
Yeah.
He's an INTJ. Now he might not necessarily come off as an INTJ because you guys might think of an INTJ as somebody who's like not. How would you say? Not as well kept, I guess.
Okay.
Like, because most young INTJs are very much kind of anti-stat. Like, they're usually not anti-establishment.
Antisocial?
Nah, yeah. I mean, if they're introverted, yeah.
Yeah.
But they usually don't. How would you say? They're a lot more, in my experience, INTJs care a lot less about certain social things.
Mm-hmm.
And now Ray is kind of an exception because he's developed, or I imagine he's built a sense of developing that
Yeah.
aspect of his personality.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, but that's I know three INTJs. I've known three INTJs that I know for a fact in my life, and they've all expressed differently. Like they're still nonetheless
they're
INTJs.
individual people.
Yeah, they're individual people. So Yeah.
So everybody, and that's the beauty of it. It's like your functions are all a sliding scale.
Yeah.
So you can have different. Everybody develops different functions depending
Yeah.
on their life experience.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So, in your experience, like, what do you think? What's a match made in heaven? Which functions do you think pair well with each other for relationships?
So I'm still like the jury's out on this one a little bit for me, but MBTI has laid out what they believe to be the best matches, and I think I agree.
I've seen that,
but I'm not sure.
I don't agree with them.
You don't?
I don't think I do.
I'm not sure. For me, I think the match that it shows for ENTP is INFJ. That rings true to me, I think.
You told me that INTPs might pair well with ENFJs.
ENFJ and ENTJ are the ones that they say.
I don't think an ENTJ would work. I think I mentioned this with you.
Yeah, but I think the one that they say for INTP, the number one is ENTJ.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's why I don't really know, because they have the opposite.
Met.
They have the opposite judging functions completely. But I guess the formula they say is supposed to be your primary function with the inverted attitude, and then they have to share the same perceiving function. As in, if you're intuitive, then you have to be with an intuitive partner. If you're sensing, you're with a sensing partner.
Yeah.
So that formula makes it ENTJ for you, because you're TI leading. The TE is the inverted attitude, but then the intuition means it has to be an ENTJ, so NI.
Fuck. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, it sounds like a strange match to me.
It sounds
but
horrible.
I'm not sure.
I mean,
I don't know.
We wouldn't even be speaking the same language.
I
mean?
don't really know, because I haven't been able to think about it. For mine makes sense to me. Like for ENTP, it's rang true to me that most of the girls who have been very attracted to me have been INFJs.
Yeah.
Just right off the gate, I could already tell that they would be very good partners for me in a long-term situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, INTJ women attract me.
INTJ?
INTJ women. Now, I've never met. I think ENTJ women are probably hard to encounter.
They are. I think I've probably known maybe.
You're like zero.
Maybe two.
That's
in my entire life.
That's fascinating. Well, I mean, Melissa Meyer from Yahoo, she's probably an ENTJ.
I don't know her.
She's the CEO.
Okay.
She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, they're too busy
doing things.
climbing over motherfuckers, getting to the top.
No, I like powerful women. No, trust me. I've always been attracted. In that sense, maybe that's what it is. I am attracted to an ambitious woman, for sure.
So maybe there's something to it. You just need to maybe meet some ENTJ women.
Maybe I do. But I'm very attracted to ambitious women.
Yeah.
I find it incredibly attractive. But But ENFJ women too. There's the other one. ENFJ women. That's incredibly easy.
Yeah.
But then also
that one makes more sense to me though than the ENTJ.
It does.
So I don't know how to piece that together with ENTJ. I'd have to study that more.
Yeah.
Why they would claim that.
Yeah. But if you folks do this test, I would say if you're looking for love, don't go looking in the wrong places. You know what I'm saying? Take this MBTI, maybe do a little, see who you pair well with,
Right.
Like Terence is saying, they typically match you with your opposite pairing.
Your opposite primary function. The attitudes are opposite.
Yeah.
And then you share the same perceiving function. And they'll probably be in different attitudes, I think. But yeah. I think it's just better because I think it's always good to go in knowing something about what you're looking for, right? Because the dating game sucks. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Juan were already talking about this earlier. The dating game ain't fun. I mean, to most people, maybe some ESFP out there likes it, but I don't even think they really like it. It's just, you want to just find people that you're gonna be with for the long term if you're looking for a relationship. You don't want to keep just cycling through, unless you're just fucking around.
Yeah.
But, that's why I think it's always good to be prepared with some kind of framework in your mind of who you're looking for.
Yeah.
And MBTI helps me do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny because I fall into getting into certain types. So you got to be careful because I fall into this. Maybe you folks might fall into this too. But I tend to be attracted to INFPs. and I don't know why. And I cannot say why. And I don't know if it's because I don't know what it is. It's always been a thing.
Yeah.
Since like high school for me.
Yeah, I was attracted to INFPs a lot back in the day.
What is that?
I think maybe because they're just classically, I mean, at least what I've seen, a lot of INFP girls are very classically feminine to me. Like they seem very, I mean, that's a very generalized statement, right? But the ones I've encountered have been very feminine in the most classical sense.
Okay.
Which just might be maybe something universal to males in general. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's very much. Yeah, it's a very. How would I say this without coming off offensively? But it's
just get canceled. Fuck it, Juan.
No, it's just like the INFP women that I've met have been like that. I've been sort of attracted to. Have been like you're saying. Like it's a very. It's like a deep. It feels like there's a deeper sense of there's a lot more going on than surface level.
They've got that deep FI,
which is appealing,
and NI combo.
Yes,
so it's very interesting.
It is interesting for me. It's always been interesting for me because it seems like a puzzle.
Yeah.
Just like I want to know what's going on, but it's a powerful dynamic, especially I think if you're, at least for me, because I want to understand things.
Yeah. I think that's a very important part with probably both me and you.
Okay.
You know, NETI.
Yeah.
We always want to solve the puzzle, right?
Uh-huh.
So any girls that are kind of mysterious or interesting and, you know, they're not doing the same old shit, they have some kind of deeper sense to them, then it's going to probably be appealing, right?
Yeah. No,
so,
it is. It's a problem.
That's why I think INFJs are also very appealing to me because they tend to be more reserved, and it takes a lot to get. It takes you a long time to be able to really sift through their whole personality because they're very good at just leaving you one thing at a time.
That's good.
They're
then
like
you don't
it's
get
like
bored.
they leave you it's like they leave you a cookie trail.
Yeah.
And they lead you down a path, but the path is always very interesting. So it's like you just can't get enough.
Okay,
you
that's
know?
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good in your case.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. No, yeah. So, yeah, in that case, man, I'm just saying, be careful out there, folks. We know how it is. It's tough. It's rough.
Yeah. Looking for love.
Looking for love in all the wrong places, folks. But yeah, if sound off on what your MBTI might be, right? Like,
yeah, that'd be cool.
Go take the test. Maybe we might put a decent test
link
on
in
the link on the description box.
Yeah, probably the Similar Minds one.
Yeah,
that's the one I think I tend to go with.
And also if you're going to take this test, don't, like I said it a little bit earlier, but don't try to idealize yourself.
Yeah.
Don't put a. I have friends who do this who've taken the test and
then they start calling themselves INTJ master race
or INTPs, or it's because they're hanging around me, or you know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh, they're saying they're doing the wrong thing because they're ideal. Yeah, they're. It's hard though. Like to me, I think you really don't know your type until you've taken the test like at least 10 times.
Yeah.
Like you've got to have
average.
Yeah, and then you take an average. Like I don't believe anybody really when they, like most people when they'll take the test, sometimes they'll say like, "Oh, I got this." I just don't even believe it sometimes. If I already know some certain things about them, I'm like, no, it's wrong.
Yeah. And
they're like, "Well, the test said it." I'm like, "No, you're answering questions in a way that you believe that you should be answering them." Yeah. So yeah.
Well, if you want a deeper sense, Terence's intuition, it's built on the cognitive functions.
Yeah,
it's not built on the.
That's going to be harder for a newbie, though.
It is.
So I would just recommend for the newbie to just start out with the 4 letters. You know, get comfortable with that. But then if you actually want to understand, the only way you're going to ever understand MBTI is with the cognitive functions. Mm-hmm. It's the only way you can really get. It's the only way you're going to get any kind of real clarity.
Yeah.
Because usually, like, if I'm trying to type people just now. Like, if I just try to use the 4 functions, that's going to be brutal.
It's insufficient.
Like, yeah. Like, the thing is, the real distinctions between people are in the cognitive functions. Exactly. I can say, oh, this guy is using TE clearly. Mm-hmm. And then if you use TE, you get a freebie. You automatically get FI with that.
Yeah.
So now you've already just found 2 of their functions. So then if you can place them in the correct order, I mean, it just becomes easier and easier over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you can discern people that you enjoy being around, people that you don't enjoy around. Look, exactly. for me...
But that's not really a personality type thing.
No.
I think that's mostly the individual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you can. I mean, I know people who are great of every type.
Right.
It just depends on what you're looking for.
But
right?
I can tell you who I tend to gravitate towards. I tend to gravitate towards intuitive people.
Me too, but I mean,
Yeah.
I also like sensor. I have a
do.
lot of sensor friends too.
I have a couple. I don't have too many.
Yeah, I guess that's true too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about. Yeah, I guess. I guess I don't. Yeah, I guess I have a couple too.
Yeah. But I still appreciate their perspective.
Yeah,
and I still
I've got
enjoy
some. I've got some really close sensor friends though.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, they always disappear. They don't like hanging around me. That's the problem. Like, this guy doesn't want to do anything.
Right.
Outdoors. Come on, man. Nah,
Yeah.
but I balanced out, so I like doing outdoor stuff. Hit me up, dude.
Well, yeah, it just depends on the person. But you can meet great
Yeah.
people of any type.
You can.
There is no such thing as a bad personality type. There's only bad
No.
people, and that's it.
Right.
Bad people, good people.
Yeah.
Personality type is independent from that.
Right. So, yeah. So when you're like going back, making sure when you take the test, take it. Try to be in a neutral state where you can objectively evaluate yourself and not think about yourself like, yeah, I'm a rational person. I don't let feelings cloud my judgment.
Mm-hmm.
But think about yourself in honest situations. Think about situations that you put yourself in where it's like, maybe I did think with my feelings. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult, but nonetheless, it'll give you a clearer picture of
Right.
what you might identify with.
And of course, always take it more than once.
Yeah. Different
So
days.
that'll really help.
Different days, separated apart. Yeah.
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 Cool.
And with that, I guess, man, that was
an easy 55.
That
man.
was easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead and leave a comment on what your type is, or what you guys type. That'd be interesting to see the breakdown of our demographic.
Yeah, I would like that.
Maybe on our
find that
Twitter
interesting.
we can maybe put something like
Well, the Twitter polls only let you do
like
4.
Oh, yikes!
It's kind of dumb. We could do like
break
are
it
you
down into
intuitive or
4s.
sensing,
Maybe break it down into different like A, B, C, D, and then that's like whatever, and then another A, B, C, D, and then another
Yeah.
Like which type?
Because there's 16, you can just do 4, 4, and 4,
Yeah,
or 4, 4, 4.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, if you're on Twitter, try maybe look for that. I guess. Right?
okay.
Yeah. And then also I want to announce the official what is it? The Balinese Cup Trick Challenge.
Huh?
Balinese Cup Trick Challenge.
The hell is that?
The Dirac Spinner Challenge.
What the heck are you talking
It's where
about?
It's where you take. We posted on our Twitter. but
Oh,
it's a
yeah, I
picture,
saw that.
It's a picture of the mathematician showing 4 pi rotations and how you end up. It's basically invariant. It doesn't change the state of the system. And I will show it to you right now. But basically, you take the initial state like this, and then you rotate. So this is, what'd you say? This is 180. Then this is. Now we're back at pi, and then fuck.
Oh, he did
fucking it up.
He did it.
Ah.
You couldn't get it in the camera?
2 pi. No. You want to try this? Oh wait, hold on. Maybe try the Rubik's cube, man.
Oh, it's got some more weight to it.
Yeah.
So it's like this.
He's got to put it over his head. Yeah. There you go, and that's the trick.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. So, go on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok or something. Throw
Are you gonna
something.
put one on there?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try it.
Do it. You
So the Balinese Cup trick. I want to see it at the clubs, folks. And actually, ironically, I used to do that at the clubs. Shout out to my boy. Shout out to my boy Jesse. He's the one who did it. And then we just kind of do it. But
okay.
yeah. Or you can do that as like a cool little handshake. We actually, Jesse and I, we used to do a little handshake like that.
Yeah.
And then just.
Oh, okay.
It's a cool trick.
There you go. That's what's up.
Come on, man. You get. If you're an Eigenbrother, if you're an Eigenbro, Eigensis, you gotta be able. Maybe that could be like the official handshake.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, if you guys want that too, we could do it.
There you go.
But anyway, all is fair in love and war, folks. Just be sure to like this video.
Yeah. We'll cover all that in the
We'll
outro.
cover all that in the outro, but stick around.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for making it this far. We hope you actually took my challenge seriously. And then also don't forget to do the MBTI thing.
Leave your MBTI down
on the comments section, or tweet at us at Eigenbros.com.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. At Eigenbros
on Twitter.
And then
they can leave comments on Eigenbros.com too.
Oh yeah, they can. They can. And then you can also go on TikTok. I'm serious, 100% serious about this challenge. The Dirac Spinner Challenge. I don't even know what to call it. But
I like that. The spinner challenge.
The Spinner Challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Let's call it that. That'd be really interesting to see. And then, yeah, or you can also comment on if this advice, you know, if this maybe is going to help. Maybe if you think this is like important information, you know, to like maybe help your love life. We hope that we're making an impact.
Yeah, let us know, guys. So once again, guys, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. And check out Eigenbros.com, at Eigenbros on Twitter, at Eigenbros on Instagram, and Eigenbros2 on TikTok. And we'll see you guys next episode.
Fuck.